The wailing deep. The first time I saw the beast, I dismissed it as a hallucination, a trick of light on the fog-shrouded waters. I'd been at sea too long, I reasoned. 3 months aboard the research vessel Cetus, studying migratory patterns in the North Atlantic, with nothing but the endless horizon and my increasingly irritable crewmates for company. But Captain Harris had seen it too. The dark mass beneath our hull, impossibly vast, moving with deliberate slowness, like a shadow cast by no earthly object. "Leviathan," he whispered, his weathered face gone pale in the dim light of the bridge. I'd never seen fear in the old man's eyes before that moment. A devil of the deep. I laughed nervously. "Captain, you don't believe those old sailors' tales?" He didn't smile. "My grandfather sailed these waters for 40 years. Told me stories of a beast so large it was mistaken for an island. Men would moor their ships to what they thought was land, light fires for cooking and warmth." He trailed off, his gaze fixed on the darkness beyond our vessel. "And," I prompted. "And then the island would awaken." 2 days later, our sonar equipment began picking up anomalous readings, a massive biological signature unlike anything in our database. The size readings were off the charts, suggesting a creature hundreds of feet in length. "It's probably a glitch," said Mercer, our tech specialist, though his voice lacked conviction. "Or maybe a large pod of whales traveling very close together." But we all knew that wasn't it. Whatever lurked beneath us was singular, a lone entity of impossible proportions. That night, I awoke to a sound that seemed to vibrate through the very hull of the ship, a low, mournful call that wasn't quite a whale song. It resonated at a frequency I could feel in my bones, in my teeth, behind my eyes. The ship's lights flickered, then died. In the darkness, I heard several crew members crying. On the 5th day, the sea grew still, unnaturally still. No wind, no waves, just a flat expanse of water stretching to the horizon in every direction. We'd lost all radio contact with the mainland. Our engines sputtered and died despite Mercer's insistence that they were in perfect working order. "It's hunting us," said Harris, his voice barely audible as he stared out across the water. "It's been hunting us this whole time." I was about to dismiss his paranoia when the ship lurched violently. We all stumbled, grabbing onto whatever was nearest for support. "What was that?" someone shouted. And then we saw it, rising from the depths like a mountain being born from the sea. Dark, slick skin stretched over a mass so immense my mind couldn't properly process it. What I had initially taken for rock formations were in fact barnacle clusters the size of cars, clinging to ancient, scarred flesh. Pale, sightless eyes, bigger than our lifeboats, stared at nothing and everything. "Don't move," Harris ordered, but his words were rendered meaningless as the behemoth continued to rise, lifting our ship on its back as water cascaded off its colossal fall. To our horror, the surface beneath us leveled out. We were now perched atop what appeared to be an island in the middle of the ocean, an island that breathed. The cold was unbearable as night fell. We huddled on the deck, the ship now listing at an impossible angle as it rested on the creature's broad back. Several crew members were already showing signs of hypothermia. "We need warmth," said Zhang, our medical officer. "We're going to freeze to death before morning." It was Dawson who suggested the fire, young, impulsive Dawson who'd never heeded a warning in his life. "Are you insane?" I hissed. "You heard the captain's stories." "Stories," Dawson scoffed, already gathering materials from the ship. "Fairy tales told by old men who've spent too much time at sea. This is just a whale, a big one, sure, but still just an animal. It probably doesn't even know we're here." I looked to Harris for support, but the captain sat motionless, staring at nothing, murmuring what sounded like prayers under his breath. I couldn't stop them. 5 of the crew followed Dawson's lead, breaking apart wooden crates and furniture, creating a pile directly on the dark, slick surface of the creature's back. The wood was soon ablaze, casting our shadows long across the living island. For one blessed moment, there was warmth, light, almost hope. Then came the hiss of burning flesh, a sound like 1,000 pounds of meat on a grill, but magnified to nightmarish proportions. The dark surface beneath the fire began to bubble and char. Thick black smoke, rising from what we now understood was living tissue. The stench was unbearable. Burning blubber and ancient skin that had never known the touch of flame. Then came the wail, not from around us, but from beneath us. A sound so ancient and full of agony and malice, it seemed to stop my heart mid-beat. The very air vibrated with its fury. It wasn't just anger. It was the primal response of an ancient being experiencing pain, perhaps for the first time. "What have you done?" Harris screamed at Dawson, his face contorted in terror. "What have you done?" The surface beneath the fire suddenly convulsed, rippling like muscle, and then split open. Not just flesh tearing, but a massive mouth revealing itself, lined with teeth like pale tombstones. I glimpsed raw, red flesh, where the fire had burned through the whale's thick hide. Dawson and the others didn't even have time to scream as they tumbled into that abyssal maw, the flames and embers following them down the creature's throat like falling stars. The rest of us clung desperately to the ship as the creature began to move, its massive form twisting beneath us. I locked eyes with Harris one last time before he was gone, swept away into the churning darkness. I heard his voice, somehow clear, despite the chaos. "It doesn't hate us, that's not why it kills. It's simply ancient. Here before us, here long after. We are nothing to it, but the momentary irritation of insects." The ship broke apart around me. As I clutched a floating piece of debris, I watched in horror as the gargantuan head breached the surface once more. Its eye, that lighthouse-sized orb of milky white, turned in my direction. There was no malice there, no hatred, no emotion at all. Just an emptiness that seemed to stretch back to the very beginning of time. I felt something massive moving beneath me, circling slowly. It was playing with me. The devil whale would take its time before dragging me down into the wailing deep.